from the second tour we made in the 80s. We everybody in the band drank their mini bars empty, and we fill up everything with apple juice, and then we sitting down at the breakfast, and the owner of the hotel came down and said, "What the fuck you did? You drink all."
G'day and guten Tag, everyone. Liam here from Metal Roos. Today I'm chatting with Chris Boltendahl, vocalist of German metal legends Gravedigger. Chris, wie geht es dir?
I'm fine, thank you very much. I had a lot of interviews today. You're the last one before I start cooking for my family.
Oh, nice. What have you got cooking for tonight?
Some kind of pasta today.
Very nice, very nice. All right, let's talk about Bone Collector, the newest album from Gravedigger, coming out in January next year. Album number 23. Yes, congratulations.
Thank you.
I've been listening to it myself in preparation for this chat. Really enjoyed it. Good work. But for all the keen listeners out there, in your own words, what can they anticipate from this album?
Yes, it's a typical Gravedigger true heavy metal album with a bit of the spirit of the 80s. The record company said, okay, let's tack it with old school, but old school means something. Old school is a key word for everything which should sound like it would record it in the 80s, but now we are in the year 2024. And I prefer a little bit more modern production, but I think it has the spirit from the 80s. That is very important. That was the goal what we reached to that we would like to reach. And yes, I think it's a breezes kind of music which we grow up with heavy metal breakdown, which it's not the same. My style of singing is a little bit deeper now. I can't scream like in the 80s. Can I do it for one song and then it's all over? But at the end, I think it has this vibe, and that is important for us.
And this album follows on from 2022's Symbol of Eternity album, almost 3 years. But I remember 2022 was when live music started to return to a sense of normalcy following the pandemic. Since things have turned somewhat normal, how have things been for Gravedigger back on the road?
Yeah, it was... I think the last show before Corona, we played on the 70,000 tons of metal, this cruise ship in the Caribbean Sea. And unfortunately, on the birthday of my son, I think he turned out 14. And on this day, the lockdown came here to Germany. And it was a hard time for all the artists. No shows, nothing happened, no money, and the government said at least we gave money to the artists. That was they missed the culture thing definitely, but 1 year later they start to rethink about that and give also money to the artists. But it was a hard time. It was two years of no income, and I lose a lot of money. And then in 2022, we repeat all the shows from the previous years, were moved into the year 2022. And I think we played 50 shows in this year, every weekend to another city. And then, it was start to be getting a bit normal. Now you can feel the repressions after Corona nowadays, after all these years, but at the end, getting normal.
As I said before, Bone Collector is album number 23 for Gravedigger. Not too many bands these days can really brag about such an achievement. I mean, after 44 years of writing albums, I'm keen to know, what is your approach writing a new album? Do you find it more challenging these days or less challenging with experience?
I think it's challenging nowadays because so many albums, there is a chance that you repeat yourself. And I think perhaps it happened from time to time that a Gravedigger sound like a song from our history. Yeah. But at the end, we always try to give the people a high quality heavy metal. And I think that is the most important thing, that people are entertaining by our music. And if there are some, you can compare perhaps one or three songs from our history but at the end, it's new written stuff we release, and I think that is a good thing for the people.
Fantastic. And who produced this album? Like, tell me about the studio experiences you had recording.
The recordings, everybody recorded in his own studio. The drummer has his own studio, bass player and guitar player. And in my studio, we start mixing and recording the vocals and also doing the mastering. During Corona, when nothing happened, I started to learn myself to be a sound engineer. And after 3 years now of experience, I can do it more or less very well. And I think the new album sounds very good.
So, are you doing much sound engineering and production for other bands, or just for yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
Nearly, since I started, I think it's I have a collection of 15 productions so far.
Yourself,
But it's not something I want to do it as a day job. I'm not a professional studio. I have professional equipment. I do it normally for friends, but at first I do it for Gravedigger.
I'd actually would love to know a little bit about the early days of Gravedigger. I'd love for you to tell me about how the band came together. I mean, from what I've read, you guys formed in Gladbeck in the Nordrhein-Westphalia region. Is that correct?
Yes. I was there 2 months ago with a journalist from Metal Hammer. We make a whole story. I guided him to my home. And we met my father, who is now 96, and we shared about the old times. And I showed him my room in my home house, And then we met people from this time. An old photographer. I didn't see him for I think 35 years, more or less. Right. And that was a time journey, and like a time machine, boop, and then back to the early days, and that was really funny. And I remember the days since it was yesterday, most of the days. And today I had a lot of chats with journalists from Australia, and they asked me, what you remember first when you think about the old days? And I said, oh yes, I remember the times when we made the first 2 records in Berlin, at the studio of Harris Jones.
Harris Jones, of course, yeah.
Yes, he was near to the wall in Berlin, and we are living in West Germany, and we have to travel through East Germany, and there are more or less truck stops in East Germany selling beer for the 10% of what we saw buy in West Germany. And we put all the stuff, we spend a lot of money there, put all the stuff in the beer into the truck with the equipment, and drive to the studio. 3 weeks of drinking all the cheap beer from East Germany. And on the way back, we put all the beer again in the truck with the equipment and brought it to our rehearsal room. That was really funny, and I think we always was drunk in the first records.
I saw Harris Johns recently, actually. I went and saw Sodom with Traitor and Darkness and Tankard here in Berlin, and Harris joined them on stage. It was actually pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
A town like Gladbeck, was there a big live scene back there, or did you often have to find yourself traveling to the bigger cities like Dortmund or Cologne to play?
No, there was a scene in the Ruhrgebiet area, and we was a big community. I had a good connection to Miller and Peavy from Rage and all these guys. We had a good community, and we played a lot of festivals together at this time, also with Halloween from Hamburg. And yes, it was a good days for German heavy metal here.
Yeah, so like you mentioned community, like, I mean, many notable German bands have come from the NRW area, notably from cities like Dusseldorf or Essen. I am curious, like, back in the early 1980s, you had the London scene with new wave of British heavy metal and the Bay Area thrash scene in the US. Was the Nordrhein-Westfalen area, like, how big of a community was it back then? Was it in the same sense as the London scene or the Bay Area scene?
I think not so big like the Bay Area or London scene, but it has its own trademarks. And now look to the scene. The metal band from this time always doing shows, and they doing records, and like Sodom, Creator, Gravedigger, Rage, and all these bands. A few bands disappeared for nothing, never heard of them, but most of the bands are actual working, and I prefer that because the scene was different at the beginning in Germany. You know, we had at the beginning we had Scorpions and Accept, and then we had the second wave of German heavy metal bands like Gravedigger and Creator and all these bands.
I mean, over the years, Gravedigger have put out so much consistent work. I mean, you guys have toured a lot. You've worked very hard over the years. And I'm sure you'd have a lot of great memories. And of course, you know, with those, there'd be lots of challenges as well. But what have been some of your personal favorite moments with the band over these past nearly 45 years?
There are a few. I think first is 2004 when we recorded this 25 to Live album in Sao Paulo. It was amazing with the South American fans. And also 2010 when we recorded this big Wacken show. But we had also a good time when Excalibur was Tunes of War was released, and Rebellion was going up like a rocket. And we had this German TV show Viva, the television here, and they played Rebellion, the video, the whole day, and it was it was the beginning of the big success of this album. And yes, it was a good time, and it was a different time. And nowadays you have the streaming. People ask me always, what is the big difference? I say, in the beginning when I started making music, music was culture, and today it's like McDonald's. You know? Nobody is listening carefully to music. Only a really small percentage of people I know listen concentrated to music and takes the time to.
You have to agree. There is a sense of convenience that comes with the streaming apps these days, but that has so many obvious side effects, as you've mentioned. So back to now, let's talk about your upcoming tour. You've got the 45th anniversary tour coming up next year with Victory and Warwolf. How many shows do you have planned so far? And this includes an appearance at Wacken next year as well, correct?
Yeah, we have planned now for January, February. We play 15 shows in Germany and one in Switzerland. And we have Victory, and we have for the first part of the tour, there's a band from Monheim here called Ridgers, and the other band is Warwolf. Yes, and we are looking through the pre-sale. They are really good, and I think it will be a great tour. And we play a good amount of old songs and some old school songs and newer songs. And I also can't wait until next week when the new single will be released, Devil's Serenade. So I think after the video we will never play in America again. So remember when you see the video what I said to you today.
Okay. All right, now you've got me curious.
It's a really funny video, but I think the door will close after that in the US. So.
See what happens. All right, Chris, before we finish up, there's a question I ask every band in Metal Roos when I interview them. What's a funny or embarrassing tour story that you would like to share with us?
Oh, I had so much, but I can tell you one from the second tour we made in the 80s. We everybody in the band drank their mini bars empty in the hotel room, and we fill up everything with apple juice, and the whiskey with apple juice, and then vodka with water and everything. And then we sitting down at the breakfast, and the owner of the hotel came down and said, "What the fuck you did? You drank all the stuff and fill it with apple juice." And we said, "How you can find that out?" "Yeah, I saw that, and I saw that that it wasn't closed and everything," and that was a really funny moment. So they pissed us up, and we had to pay a lot of money. But at the end, we felt like stars, you know. We are immortal, you know.
Yeah, of course. Chris, mate, thank you for your time. Congratulations with the Bone Collector, and all the very best with the tour next year. Stay out of that minibar, or at least
don't drink anymore, so I only can refill my water bottle, you know. Thank you very much. Have a nice Christmas time. Thank you for your time. And
you too. Have a great Christmas.
You are in Berlin?
I am in Berlin. That is correct. I am in Berlin.
Okay, we play in Berlin, you know.
All right. I'll see you in Berlin.
Okay, thank you very much.